My friends, in my 200 3D CAD models in FreeCAD series, today I want to work on exercise 123, and this looks like a pure connect part job. What I mean by that is there is a connect tool in the part workbench. I'm sure you all know about that connect tool by now. And this looks like this object will be only two parts, and then we connect it using that connect button. All right, with that, let's go ahead and create our first part. The first part would be, I'm going to say this tube, and that is 30 millimeter diameter inside and 50 millimeter diameter outside. And its length, it says, okay, how much length it is? 80 millimeter. Okay, we got that here, right here. And then across that at the far end, we will have to create another cylinder with two collars at the end. I think it would be easier for me to actually do that as a revolve instead of adding three cylinders in there. So I am going to create a sketch. That one would be on X zipline to make the revolve. And that sketch will be, let's put some dimensions in there. The length is 120, so we'll do half of that. These two will be at the same horizontal plane, and then thickness of the wall is 10. So this would be, and then this collar thickness, it's 15 divided by 2, so this is going to be 7.5. all right, what else? We have 3 degrees of freedom left, and one of them is how wide this collar would be, and this is going to be 10. And then how far from the end it is, which is another, it would be 5. All right, 1 degrees of freedom, and that's going to be the diameter of the inner circle, and that is 25. Pretty cool. We got that. Now let's go ahead and revolve that against this line, which is X. So click X, so that one moves over there, and then we say okay. There. Now I can go ahead and mirror it on the other side, and that would be on Y zipline. Right? Something is not right. This looks a little bigger than this one, but they should be the same. So actually, let's go see. Oh, I see, this 25 will actually be the outer dimension, so that is going to be 25. All right, that should fix it. Okay, there it is. Now it looks good. Let's go ahead and add these two parts of the mirror together, so it would be a fusion. And then I can go ahead and take these two and make a connect object operation, and that takes care of it. Very simple. We didn't even need the technical drawing in the background. So to see if this works, we can look at the cross section on XZ plane, and let's see, we can go and say clipping plane, and we want to clip it on the Y and say flip it. you cannot see that good. So let's go do another thing, say persistent section cut. Hopefully we're going like with this quick video of exercise 123. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Actually makes more sense now. So here we can hide the connect, and this section cut says our connection. Here the joint is perfect. There was a request to show how I make these models. Looks like wood material or like a steel material at the end of the video when I make my thumbnails, and that would be a field where I know very little to be dangerous enough. So I will be pretty basically I'll go over this procedure for a minute. So know that this video is not comprehensive tutorial on how I make that thumbnail in a different software called Blender. I'm sure you have heard about it, Blender. It's also another free open source software for graphics works. So for that, what I would do is, like, once a finished product from FreeCAD, I export that as an STL mesh and then save it somewhere. After that, I open up Blender and import that mesh I just exported in Blender. So I import that STL from where I just saved it. All right. First step, again, this is more like, how to turn on the switch to turn the lights on. An electrical engineer would know how that electricity works, but everybody can turn the switch light on and off. So that's what I'm doing. I'm like a technician now, just following the steps. So first thing first, we want to scale it back, and that would be keyboard shortcut S. So select that object we just imported and hit S on the keyboard and then scale it downward. So just move the mouse without clicking anything, and once you are at some satisfactory point, you can left click and that will be done for that scale. And then we can rotate orbit to see where this thing stands. And in Blender, there is a camera, there are some lights, so it's not FreeCAD, or like we can see the model exactly where it is without any light effect. In Blender, you'd have to set up the light, and then we can see them in different viewports. So here it says this is the wireframe, where you can see the wires, and this is the shaded one. This is the material one. We haven't applied any material yet, and this will be the rendered one. So we want to keep it on the material side, and then I have set up the camera, and the camera view is the keyboard shortcut 0 on the keyboard with numpad. So 0, and that's how my model looks like once it will be exported as an image. I don't look like how it is looking, so I'll have to do some rotating. So let's go ahead and rotate. Just select the object and hit R on the keyboard, and I want to rotate it against the Z axis, so hit Z on the keyboard, and that will allow me to actually rotate it like this. So that's how I want to actually keep it right there. And probably I want to rotate it against X axis as well. So hit X after R, and all right, once the place that I want to go, I hit single click on the keyboard, on the mouse, and then I want to do some transforming to use the FreeCAD's language. So that would be G as in God in the keyboard, and then just rotate around here. I want to rotate it against Y axis a little bit, so hit R and Y, and that way it's kind of facing me, and then relocate again. Squeeze it just a little bit more. So these are the fine-tuning. You can spend an hour on this one. All right, I'm at like a satisfactory location where I want to stop manipulating the object location and focus on the material. So on the right side, here it is the material. Keep the materials, keep the object selected, and then hit material. It doesn't have any material by default, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a new material, and I can use Blender's existing material. And to be honest, material side is like really big, and then you can, there are like thousands of customization can be applied. I know very little about it, so I'm using some basic tools here. So I select the one of the materials and then apply to selected, so that actually applies the material on the selected object. It's red paint. I can pick different things and actually go through it and see actually how it looks. How about I go with, say there is jewelry, metallic paint, and maybe wood. It's not a wood, it would definitely be something metal, but so if I can apply the wood material, it would look like this. There are like 3 different wood materials in here, and so I don't want to do the wood. I want to go with metallic paint and apply to selected. So actually that is something, that's how it looks like right now. And I also want to distinguish between a surface and the cross section, so I want to apply a second material. So that would be another material adding it here, and then this time I want to use my own texture image. So I want to go to the surface and the base color, hitting this yellow dot, and I say image texture, and here I want to add my own image. Say I want to go with this polished steel material, right, because that's a cross section, and rename that as polished steel. All right, now before applying that to here, I want to actually select this and come here in the, so now it's in the layout mode. I want to go to the UV editing mode and select the face selecting, and select everything by hitting A on the keyboard. A hitting twice, that unselects everything, and hitting 1 time, that selects everything. And I want to say under UV, I want to go with Smart UV Project. All right, that's kind of like projects everything on that. Now I want to say, I want to select only the surface. So say double click on the A, and I want to select this face and go to select similar, and I can say coplanar, and that will select everything on the same plan. And here I want to say polished steel, select that part and then assign it, right? So since assigned it, and it will show my texture that I just specified it, and it's there. So that's what this Smart UV project does, and I can do that to actually make it a uniform looking thing. And let's get out of there and see how it looks now. It looks more like what I wanted it to look. So the surface is like a paint that we applied, and the cross section is the actual material surface. So I can take a look at it through the camera view. That's how it will look like once I render. And the rendering is, so I want to go actually change something in the render option. So here in the render, I'm using the cycles, and I am using my graphics card to compute the rendering thing. And here in the scene, okay, where is that? So in film, I want to go select transparent, so that way it's not showing any background, and hit F12 on the keyboard. That will render the image. And one thing I see is like the lighting is really poor, and I'll be honest with you, I still haven't figured out a good lighting condition for this rendering, so I am using multiple lights. So I have one by default, and then I want to duplicate that using Shift D and move it around like near the camera, and let's see. and then I want to see how it looks like through the camera. So now I can select on the render option, and this is how it will look like. I see it's a reflection here. So here one can spend a good amount of time, which I don't want to do. It's supposed to be a quick job. So just like that, see if that's a good image. So it will take a minute depending on the computing power of the computer. And there it is. The rendering is completed, and I can save that image as a PNG and use that in Inkscape to create the thumbnail that I use in front of my videos. So on this whole process, I'm using FreeCAD, Blender, and Inkscape. All three of these softwares are open source software, free software. I hope that shines some light on what I've been doing on these videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.